Louisiana Purchase Treaty of 1803, treaty between the United States of America and the French Republic. The President of the United States of America and the First Consul of the French Republic, in the name of the French people, desiring to remove all source of misunderstanding relative to objects of discussion mentioned in the second and fifth articles of the Convention of the 8th Vendémiaire 9, the 30th of September, 1800, relative to the rights claimed by the United States in virtue of the treaty concluded at Madrid the 27th of October 1795. Between His Catholic Majesty and the said United States, and willing to strengthen the union and friendship which at the time of the said convention was happily re-established between the two nations, have respectively named their plenipotentiaries, to wit, the President of the United States, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate of the said States, Robert R. Livingston, Minister Plenipotentiary of the United States, and James Monroe, Minister Plenipotentiary and Envoy Extraordinary of the said States, near the government of the French Republic, and the First Consul in the name of the French people, Citizen Francis Barbé Marba, Minister of the Public Treasury, who, after having respectively exchanged their full powers, have agreed to the following articles. Article 1. Whereas by the Article the 3rd of the treaty concluded at Saint-Ildefonso the 9th Vendémiaire 9, 1st October, 1800, between the First Consul of the French Republic and His Catholic Majesty, it was agreed as follows. His Catholic Majesty promises and engages on his part to cede to the French Republic 6 months after the full and entire execution of the conditions and stipulations herein relative to His Royal Highness the Duke of Parma, the colony or province of Louisiana, with the same extent that it now has in the hand of Spain, and that it had when France possessed it, and such as it should be after the treaties subsequently entered into between Spain and other states. And whereas in pursuance of the treaty, and particularly of the third article, the French Republic has an incontestable title to the domain and to the possession of the said territory, the First Consul of the French Republic, desiring to give to the United States a strong proof of his friendship, doth hereby cede to the United States, in the name of the French Republic, forever and in full sovereignty, the said territory with all its rights and appurtenances, as fully and in the same manner as they have been acquired by the French Republic in virtue of the above-mentioned treaty concluded with His Catholic Majesty. Article 2. In the cession made by the preceding article are included the adjacent islands belonging to Louisiana, all public lots and squares, vacant lands, and all public buildings, fortifications, barracks, and other edifices which are not private property, the archives, papers, and documents relative to the domain and sovereignty of Louisiana and its dependencies will be left in the possession of the commissaries of the United States, and copies will be afterwards given in due form to the magistrates and municipal officers of such of the said papers and documents as may be necessary to them. Article 3. The inhabitants of the ceded territory shall be incorporated in the Union of the United States, and admitted as soon as possible according to the principles of the Federal Constitution, to the enjoyment of all these rights, advantages, and immunities of citizens of the United States, and in the meantime they shall be maintained and protected in the free enjoyment of their liberty, property, and the religion which they profess. Article 4. There shall be sent by the government of France a commissary to Louisiana, to the end that he do every act necessary, as well to receive from the officers of His Catholic Majesty the said country and its dependencies, in the name of the French Republic, if it has not been already done, as to transmit it in the name of the French Republic to the commissary or agent of the United States. Article 5. Immediately after the ratification of the present treaty by the President of the United States, and in case that of the First Consul shall have been previously obtained, the commissary of the French Republic shall remit all military posts of New Orleans and other parts of the ceded territory to the commissary or commissaries named by the President to take possession. The troops, whether of France or Spain, who may be there, shall cease to occupy any military post from the time of taking possession, and shall be embarked as soon as possible in the course of 3 months after the ratification of this treaty. Article 6. The United States promise to execute such treaties and articles as may have been agreed between Spain and the tribes and nations of Indians, until by mutual consent of the United States, and the said tribes or nations other suitable articles shall have been agreed upon. Article 7. As it is reciprocally advantageous to the commerce of France and the United States to encourage the communication of both nations, for a limited time, in the country ceded by the present treaty until general arrangements relative to commerce of both nations may be agreed on, it has been agreed between the contracting parties that the French ships coming directly from France, or any of her colonies loaded only with the produce and manufactures of France, or her said colonies, and the ships of Spain coming directly from Spain, or any of her colonies loaded only with the produce or manufactures of Spain, or her colonies shall be admitted during the space of 12 years in the port of New Orleans, and in all other legal ports of entry within the ceded territory, in the same manner as the ships of the United States coming directly from France or Spain, or any of their colonies, without being subject to any other or greater duty on merchandise, or other or greater tonnage than that paid by the citizens of the United States. During that space of time above mentioned, no other nation shall have a right to the same privileges in the ports of the ceded territory. The 12 years shall commence 3 months after the exchange of ratifications, if it shall take place in France, or 3 months after it shall have been notified at Paris to the French government, if it shall take place in the United States. It is, however, well understood that the object of the above article is to favor the manufactures, commerce, freight and navigation of France and of Spain so far as relates to the importations that the French and Spanish shall make into the said ports of the United States, without in any sort affecting the regulations that the United States may make concerning the exportation of the produce and merchandise of the United States, or any right they may have to make such regulations.